getting back into this game. This is still game one between Do It For Fun and Cloud9. We're going to have to see if Do It For Fun can actually pull out the victory here against Cloud9, which is an extremely strong RMD. We're going to be once again following Cloud9 out of there, following Roasties here. He's going to be looking to get that early sap, trying to move in over here, just coming up behind just a little bit there. The sap goes out onto Coding, but he wants to get over, and there's the Shadow Step, jumping over onto Mudgain and immediately putting him that cheap shot into that kidney shot as well. He's actually got him caught out of line of sight over here.
That DFA on the fort, that was so insane. Mudgain still down to 50% HP. Rosie's doing an excellent job there. Wealthy, man, actually popping his icy veins. He wants to get out more damage, more pressure. Coding actually not in any CC whatsoever, has already used his trinket, but the offensive clone coming in from Cubsy, that's what we've sort of seen him do all throughout these tournaments, denying the incoming heals from Coding. The cheap shot smoke bomb out of Mudgain, still in a lot of trouble, down to 30% HP. Coding trying to get that aura mastery off and run into the smoke bomb, getting off a little bit of heals. The Healthstone as well coming up from Mudgain. They're trying to get out some offensive pressure, but right now Cloud9 has all the momentum in their favor. Do It For Fun is having such a hard time getting out damage onto them with how much crowd control they've been doing.
They are. Now, Mudgain does have that Dark Soul left, so he's going to be able to put out a bunch of damage as they are going to go into Wealthy Man, who's down to 60% health rate there. Going to force out the real early Iron Bark because Cubsy knows that he might be in a little bit of trouble with his positioning where he is. Barely misses a spell lock on to the Cyclone, so that was a great fake right there as Mudgain is in those stuns. But look how short these stuns are because of the York Racial.
Yeah, it's really, really interesting to see how well it almost seems to be messing up Roasty's timings a little bit. You keep seeing the cheap shot fading off just before the kidney shot comes out. Now Mudgain, though, still taking tons and tons of damage over here. There are still 2 Spirit Links available for Coding, but the offensive Cyclones, once again, coming out from Cubsy. Cubsy, though, caught into that stun for just a second there. He's going to go ahead and use the Bark Skin, trying to keep Wealthy alive, trying to avoid having to make Wealthy use any of his Ice Blocks just yet. He still has both of them available, but Mudgain is still in so much trouble over here. The Death for Above, once again coming out, and he's going to port away, but Roasty's just going to be right on top of him right after that. Now caught into that cheap shot. Again, Coding is so far away behind 2 pillars. Mudgain could be in some trouble, but no, he's got that gateway right there. Wealthy dipping super low. Still no Ice Block out of Wealthy, though.
Yeah, Cubsy could actually be in a little trouble. This is a full Stormball on him. He has no Trinket and Bark Skin available with Yun on his back, fearing him up actually. Wealthy
and look
man.
at Roasties too.
Yeah, everyone's getting so low for the team of Cloud9. This is the Demon Soul coming up from Mudgain at the moment. Cubsy has really no cooldowns left to work with, trying to get that Tranquility, but Yun pushes in and actually interrupts it with that pummel. The bash going out onto Yun though from Cubsy. Cubsy looks like he's going to be okay. Throws out that NS onto himself, tops himself off. Both teams are going to stabilize for now. Coding actually has his Trinket up as well as both Spirit Links. Hasn't had to use one Spirit Link this game yet.
Yeah, Wealthy Man's pet is just dying over and over and over. The team of Do It For Fun is doing a great job. I see him having to resummon it constantly. As we do see the blind out onto Coding, as he is going to trinket it instantly. And look at this positioning again. Again, Mudvayne is ready to port back. He's ready there with the gateway if needed. It is impeccable positioning from Do It For Fun.
Yeah, Mudvayne doing an excellent job kiting. He did manage to avoid that death from above from Roasties that time around. Managed to not port in the middle of that, meaning that Roasty would have stuck onto him. Wealthy takes a bit of damage here, but he's still holding on to that second Ice Block. Cubsy doing a great job of keeping up, but now Cubsy caught into that Stormbolt. Could mean a little bit of trouble for Wealthy here, but no, they're actually going on to Cubsy there for just a second, trying to get a Cyclone off. Doesn't look like he was able to get it, but Mudgain once again having to run from the team of Cloud9. Wealthy gets low just enough to have to force out that Iron Bark from Cubsy, and Cubsy just running around in bear form at the moment as much as possible, trying to avoid getting any sort of swap over onto him. Cloud9 actually seems like they're a little bit scared of Do It For Fun swaps right now.
Yeah, Mudgain actually getting cloned up there. The full kidney shot going out. Coding catching a huge heal with a well-timed heal coming out of that clone, but the smoke bomb coming out. A lot of damage. Death from above, pardon me, coming in. Mudgain still in the middle of the map tanking this damage. He does have his port available if he needs to get away. Wealthy Man, though, down to 30% HP, having to pull back and play a little bit defensive. Cubsy actually already went for a drink and down to 12% mana once again. So Coding, Mudgain, and Yun winning this mana war. And as the game goes further and further, unless Cubsy can go for another drink, it's going to be impossible for him to heal through this damage with no mana. Wealthy down to 20% HP, though. He does have one more Ice Block available if he needs it. The NS coming out from Cubsy. Yun going to be cloned up. Cubsy in a lot of trouble, though, loaded up with Haunts. If somehow, some way, Yun is able to connect on him, he could be in a lot of trouble.
And that's what they're going for right now. Yun goes back out immediately. Roasty is ready to answer it with some peels. But look, die by the sword instantly so he can stay on his target. I really like this, but Cubsy has already gotten away.
Yep, Mudyain, though, caught into that kidney shot with Coding caught into the Frost Jaw. Mudyain could be in some trouble here. A full sheep comes out onto Coding. He doesn't have his trinket available just yet, but look at Mudyain's ability to kite, constantly just getting out of line of sight, saving Coding from having to use his trinket, which has now become available. The blind comes out, Coding immediately trinkets that blind and drops down the Spirit Link. Do It For Fun is going to be just fine. They might be able to force out another ice block from Wealthy.
Cold-Step's going to be coming out very soon for Wealthy.
Yep, Cubsy was able to get some drinks off. This is gigantic for this match. Let's see how much mana he made it out with it. Look at that, 40% mana from that drink. That was huge. That was a great trade for that ice block.
Absolutely, absolutely. Mudyain now caught into this kidney shot once again, Coding into that deep freeze. They don't have the follow-up CC onto him just yet. Mudyain once again is going to go ahead and pour it out of there. Do It For Fun doing a great job of not getting too hyper-aggressive and feeling like they can go in for the kill when they really can't. Wealthy taking a little bit of damage over here, but it looks like he's going to be fine for now. Does get the Iron Bark from Cubsy, which is going to limit a lot of that incoming damage. They're just trying to save that second ice block as long as possible because he doesn't have his cold snap up for another 2.5 minutes.
Cubsy does have his trinket available now. Coding still has no trinket for a long time. Wealthy Man pushing in, getting the full deep sheep. This could be it for Mudyain. The Shadow Dance coming out on him. He's going to have to get away, use that port. Dark Regen comes out, but is it going to be enough? Down to 10% HP. The Master Flight comes in to stop some of the follow-up CC. That was beautiful from Yun. He needed to do that. Coding just going to drop the Spirit Link Totem, which is exactly what he needed to do, and now he's running on fumes. Cubsy has managed to turn the mana advantage in his favor by getting these drinks off, and now Coding is in a little bit of trouble.
And Yun is out deep in backfield, you know, right on top of Wealthy Man and Roasties. Roasties with that evasion up right there, forcing Yun into the defensive stance just for a little bit. But it's great that he's using that sweeping strikes and hitting both of the DPS every time that he can. Wealthy Man taking a little bit of damage right now, going on the offensive though. The big thing to note though is the mana war at this point. Cubsy's starting to get back down low. Coding though is about at 10%. This is huge. He really has to try and get a drink if possible, but the problem is his warrior is already out there such in deep field that he can't just let him be by himself.
Yeah, it's worth noting that Coding will have his trinket up again in about 5 seconds, so he will have that available should he need it. Yun trying to go over and pop a bunch of offensive cooldowns over here, but he does immediately have to pop that die by the sword, and actually kind of having to back away over here as Coding was caught into that deep freeze, didn't want to have to use his trinket to get out of that. There's the blind. He's going to immediately trinket that blind once again, doing a great job keeping his trinket cooldown lined up with that blind cooldown, but Yun still actually just taking a lot of damage out of here. It looks like Cloud9 may have decided that, you know what, Mudyain, we're not getting very far on him. We're going to go ahead and start going after Yun, who's been playing so offensively, but they force another ice block out from Wealthy. He does not have his cold snap available.
Yep. Yun could be in a lot of trouble, though. He has no more defensive cooldowns besides Rallying Cry Out, but they can get another Shadow Dance on him, which is going to be up in 22 seconds. Yun could be in a lot of trouble. That is the Enraged Regeneration. Maybe they're perhaps baiting it for the Shadow Dance. Coding not in any CC right now. If they can get CC onto him and get another setup onto Yun, that could for sure be the game. Healing waves coming out from Coding, though, going to get some huge heals onto Yun, but he's still not out of the woods yet. He needs to be very, very careful because Shadow Dance is coming up for Roasties, and if they can catch him in a good stun, he's going to die.
Yeah, Coding getting lower and lower and lower on mana, despite the fact that he's keeping his team topped off. He's down at 3% mana. Roasties could be in a little bit of trouble here, though. Down to 20% health. We've got some DPS cooldowns coming out of Wealthy and Roasties right now, just trying to get this secured kill as soon as possible. Wealthy, though, having to catch that Iron Bark and get over here out of line of sight. Cubsy now actually running really low on mana and health as well. Down to 20% health there for just a second. They're trying to keep this going as much as they possibly can. Do it for fun, despite the fact that Coding has been running on fumes for so long. Cubsy is once again completely out of mana, but he's got the Shadow Meld up. He's going to go for that drink.
And he's getting a big drink off right now, actually. Look at that. It is, this isn't good. 45% mana yet again. But, you know, both Wealthy Man, his block did come back up. He has that block going.
Coding actually got a little bit of mana there, down to up to 25% mana, which is nice. Wealthy Man having that ice block come back up. Both healers aren't going to have a trinket for another 20 seconds. Mudyain getting topped off from a huge heal from Coding, stabilizing his team, and now the WLS wants to go on the offensive. The Blade Storm coming out from Yun. Wealthy Man doing everything he can to control that damage, throwing out those sheeps. He is loaded up with with the Haunt now. He's going to be taking a lot of damage. This is 25% dampening. Cubsy's having a really hard time stabilizing his team through this Warrior and this Warlock damage, but this is a setup coming out from the RMD. The full sheep on the Coding. Mudgain in a lot of trouble, down to 10% HP. The Dark Regen comes out as well as the Rallying Cry. Coding needs to get out of this crowd control. He does have a Spirit Link available. Trinket comes up in the nick of time for that blind. He doesn't get the Spirit Link totem off. Rallying Cry's getting fade. This could be the first game. He's caught into that Frost Shot, the offensive clone going out onto Mudgain. If they can get anything else on the Coding, that is a full cheap shot. It is very, very short though, but the Garrote comes out.
Wow, that Spirit Link was like a quarter second away from being there. That was so close.
That is the Spirit Link.
I feel like he actually had time to get the Spirit Link off.
In between?
Yeah, he had a second to get the Spirit Link off the totem off, and I think he perhaps was being, I'd have to watch the replay, but
maybe he was waiting because he was cloned up at that point too.
The Spirit Link works through clone.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's that game right there. That was really close on both sides. I really liked Mudgain's positioning with Coding. I think Coding had to push out towards the end and got caught in between the two pillars, and then it was a CC chain after that point.
Yeah, so that will be the first game in this series going to Team Cloud9 of Wealthy Man, Roasties, and Cubsy.